Hey everyone, it's Peter Garrett from Rock Daydream Nation. I want to talk about a concert that I saw a couple of days ago. It's really taken me probably 48 hours to process, and I'm talking about Midnight Oil's very last concert. Midnight Oil have called it a day, at least in the live forum, and they played on the 3rd of October at the Sydney Hordern Pavilion, which is about a 2 to 3,000 capacity theatre in Sydney. This was a monster set. They played 40 songs over a period of 3 hours and 45 minutes, 3 encores. It was an emotional concert, as you would do, folding up a wonderful, majestic career. It covered all songs from the very first album, Midnight Oil, which came out in 1978. Do yourself a favour and check out this album because it's stellar, right through their discography, or 13 albums, to Midnight Oil's latest album, Resist, which I seem to recall came out late last year. So the lineup was Peter Garrett on vocals, Rob Hurst on drums, Jim Mogany on guitar and keyboards, guitar Martin Rotzi, and Adam Ventura on bass. Adam was drafted into the band on the world tour. I think Peter asked him how many songs did he have to learn, and he had to learn 94 or 93. I can't seem to recall the exact number, but phenomenal bass playing, and he was solid all night. And that was picking up for Bones Hillman, that sadly passed away. So how can I describe this concert? It was like a church gathering. It was a communal. It was all the Uber fans. My personal journey with Midnight Oil, I feel like they've been a fabric of my life growing up, listening to them on the radio, seeing them on TV. I only saw them once in 1986 at the Coogee Bay Hotel and in a very sweaty pub. And they were really good then, but this was totally phenomenal. And considering that Peter Garrett is 69, the stamina, the energy that he portrayed on stage was just out of sight. All the dance moves that you see in the film clips, he worked the stage. But it was a nicely paced set. So it started off with a bang. The first song was Lucky Country and finished off with the finale of Forgotten Years. Some of the highlight songs are Blue Sky Mine, US Forces, Read About It, Kosciuszko. Look, there were so many songs, so many highlights, but it was just nicely paced. It had all the high energy songs, and then it'd have a little bit of an acoustic set where Jim Mogany would get on the keyboards, and it would be a little bit of balladry, and then it'd get back into the stomping songs. Peter Garrett played tribute to its origins, saying that there were a lot of people in the audience, a lot of his contemporaries that came through that pub rock scene, and that was the era where a lot of the bands, sort of developed their skills and developed their song set through the Australian pub rock scene, where they would play every day of the week, sometimes 2 sets, afternoon at night. So Peter paid homage to that. To me, it was a bit sad in a way, because it was there's not many of those bands left, that pub rock era. And again, this band has very much been a fabric of my life. Midnight Oil are very special. Their songs encompass social justice, environment, human rights, anything that's a message that needs to be said. It's sort of like they've always stood for Australia, stood for the Indigenous culture, stood for the downtrodden person that needs to have a fair go. Basically it's sort of very gospel band, but in that sort of framework of a band that's been a little bit post-punk, pub rock, hard rock with a bit of acoustic. So as I said, it's taken me 2 days to process some of what I'm saying. In a further week, I probably could say more, and I could go into more detail, but I think that to me it was 3 3/4 hours. It just went like that, and I just wish they played on. And I'm sad that they've got to call it. They're calling it a day because it is an end of an era. But I understand, and everything doesn't last. So just to talk about the musicology side of it. Peter Garrett's vocals were in fine form. I heard sort of stories on tour that he had lost a lot of his upper vocal range. He's not the greatest vocalist, but he is a unique vocalist. And to me, you hear his vocals and to me, it sounds Australian. It's sort of very Australian, very distinct, and it's his personality in spades. A lot of the balladry where he had to reach for the upper register, he hit it. And he considering, as I said earlier, he's 69 going on to 70, he had so much energy. It just put people like myself in the audience to shame because everyone was standing and dancing but he had just so much energy. Rob Hurst, what can I say? He is probably Australia's greatest drummer. A simple kit, but the drum rolls and the patterns and the driving the beat along was just magnificent, especially on Power and the Passion. He had this mock water tank, and there was a bit where he was, got the sticks out and he was doing a little drum roll on the water tank along with anything that was in his vicinity. Jim Mogany and Martin Rotzi, great guitar. To my ears, and sort of the penny dropped, I could see a lot of their influences were surf rock. And considering the band originated in the Northern Beaches in Sydney, I think they may have picked up a lot of the bands that were sort of around at that particular time. And, maybe a little bit of Birdman, the Saints, but surf rock, the Atlantics, I'm not sure. But you could hear a lot of that surf rock influence through a lot of the songs. But their guitar work was sublime, and just little interweaving type of guitar sort of call and response between them was just magnificent. And Adam Ventura, as I said, he was the sub for Bones, who sadly passed away in Tulum 94, and he was just rock solid. But they were just dynamic, and Robert Hurst had this big smile. I think he got, I could see some tears, and not to say that people around me, a lot of blokes were quite emotional because, as I said, this band has just been a fabric of our life, and it's no longer there. So that's Midnight Oil. As I said, magnificent gig, heartfelt. I'm sad, but I'm all the more richer that I actually saw their final performance, and I have seen Midnight Oil, and they are truly one of the, they're an Australian national treasure and truly one of the great bands. So just to, sort of finalise, I think I'll quoting the last song of the night, which is Forgotten Years, the hardest years, the darkest years, the roaring years, the fallen years, these should not be the forgotten years. And that's how I feel about Midnight Oil. So please like and subscribe to Rock Daydream Nation, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.